Okay, can everyone hear themselves?
Hello. Oh my Lord. I can hear.
Yeah, girl, we do this.
I'm just gonna live my life. Do what I do.
Welcome to It's Not That Serious podcast.
I'm Elodie.
And I'm Malaya. So today we have a very special guest. One of my faves. I'm a huge fan. Hector Regalado? Regalado.
You done messed that up.
Regalado. Me and Heck don't know Spanish, so is that really how you pronounce your last name?
Well, I've been learning my Espanol.
I see.
I take my lessons about 3 times a week now.
How long you been doing that?
It couldn't been over like 2 months, maybe 2 months total.
33, Heck?
I just turned 34 in September.
Okay, see, I still got time to learn Spanish, y'all, okay? But first of all, let me give an intro about Heck. He is one of the best trainers in Chicago. Not only is he a trainer, he's a celebrity trainer. You train celebrities. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, go ahead, do.
You trained with James.
Okay.
Jacob Lattimore.
Mm-hmm.
After this, tell him I love him too, okay?
Oh my Lord. See this?
I've heard you train Drake.
No.
What? You never have?
No, I've been in the same room as Drake, but I never actually asked him to train.
Yeah, someone told me you did, but okay.
I wish y'all would have seen it.
Did you? Right, I know. Did you train 50?
So yeah, no. So I trained 50 security guard, but he was in the gym with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
he stops into mode because Force is recorded in Chicago.
Yeah.
And so he just come in there. We chopped it up. We talked for like an hour.
Yeah.
He cool though.
No, but besides him, like even just being the best trainer in Chicago, you know, you are an amazing mentor. And when I got the chance to literally have the opportunity to train under you, I feel like I met you in April.
Mm-hmm.
I met Heck in April. I remember the first time. Let me tell you how I even got even to know Heck. I was sitting in my bed. I was eating salt and vinegar chips, being a big back, and I'm like, man, I need to get a trainer. I had one in Wisconsin, and when I had looked up Chicago's like best trainers, you popped up. You who did you train? What's her name again? I forgot. She had the waist trainer.
Jazz.
I've been wearing
Simply Jackson.
Yeah, I've been wearing her waist trainer since like 2017, which is crazy. So when I seen that you did her like transformation, I'm like, yo, you really the real deal. So when I got the chance to even train with you, like not only that you did what you did, but like you were my therapist. I feel like not a lot of people see that side though of you, you know? So Hector is an amazing man. He is definitely a mentor, and I feel like you changed my perspective on life. And I want to know, who is Heck outside of mode?
Okay. Well, first and foremost, I appreciate y'all for having me. You know, I am very grateful and blessed that y'all actually want me on the podcast, you know.
We love you.
So again, no, I've been watching this. Like y'all actually,
really?
I promise you.
Do you love it, Heck?
It's honestly like it's refreshing to see like y'all actually do it. Again, I'm big on people where it's like, I hate when people start stuff.
Yeah.
Because they don't finish it. So it's like I like the consistency of that y'all are keep going. So that's what I like, because a lot of people, how many people start podcasts and just don't do anything with it, right?
I remember talking to you about it when I was starting in April. Yeah. I'm like, me and her have this thing. And he's like, well, if y'all not going to take it serious, don't do it.
That's it, right.
Seriously. So yeah, no, that's real. I appreciate that. Thank you. And also too, I'm so thankful that you even took the time to come here, because I feel like not a lot of people can afford Hector, can afford a trainer, can afford therapy. Yeah. And I feel like you drop a lot of gems, and you're very like, you have a lot of wisdom to you. So like with our podcast, I know we say it's not that serious, but like since we've been on it, we've been getting a little serious out here, and it's been a therapy session. So I feel like you being here is such a privilege, because even the audience can learn something, you know, and you know, just to get to know us a little better too.
Oh, for sure. That's why I said the last one with Samson and you over there crying and stuff, and y'all little tidbits. But I really be watching. I like it.
I appreciate it. So one of my questions that I have for you was, I seen that you have a nonprofit. What is that about?
So I started it 2 years ago, but I didn't do anything with it. I call it, well, actually on here, it's called Hector's Helping Hand.
I love that.
Again, you know me very well. It's like, I like to give back, but I'm actually in a position to do so.
Yeah.
So most people that get up don't think about Chicago or anybody else, and they just kind of move and do their own thing, where it's like, I know, again, I've been in Chicago all my life. I'm never going to go anywhere. I do want to live here for forever. So I know it's my job and my...
You know that this is like your home.
Exactly. So it's my job and my responsibility to take care of people's health first, and then their mental health second, because they trust me with their fitness. But then that trust kind of leads me, again, to the therapy side, to the mental aspect of like, I feel like I'm that person that has to save Chicago, especially for young men, things like that, because of social media and what we see. But I actually do want that responsibility, and I do want to be able to give back as much as possible.
I love that. It's so crazy. I don't have much knowledge of like nonprofits and but I've always wanted to get into something like with like prison reforms and like, because my dad went to prison, and when my dad went to prison, it was very like, my mom was a single mom. I realized and I got to witness how hard it is for people. Yeah. And then especially for my younger brother, who's, 13 at the time, he became angry. And like we live in Chicago where it's gun violence. People die. People, families going to jail. My family, I had a great childhood, but my family was like very chaotic, gangbangers, drug dealers. So we're so used to like the habits that we know. And, moving here, that's what I'm saying. When I had met you, you taught me how to unlearn the bad habits and relearn new ones. But that's so hard to do.
Yes and no. You just have to be aware, and you want to have to change, right? Life is learn, unlearn, relearn. And so the reason I went to therapy when I was younger, and I started at 25, was because somebody told me I was acting like my mother. And that's the person, character-wise, I don't want to be like, right? My mom is very mean, but again, a single mother, amazing person when it comes to being provider. Yeah. And I told her this, and she wasn't too happy, but I said, you were a provider, you weren't a mother. And it's hard for her to hear that.
And that's deep.
Right. But it's I understand that my mom always put a roof over my head, clothes on my back, food on the table.
You were always grateful.
Exactly. Very grateful and very blessed to do that. But when it came to emotion, my mom made it clear, like, I'm not your friend.
Right.
We don't discuss certain things. If it wasn't about work, school, or business, we don't talk.
Yeah.
I understood when my mom came home at times and she was upset with her life, she would take it out on me.
Yeah.
But me being very young and aware of that, like at 14, was like, all right, come on, bring it on.
Yeah.
Again, same thing with as you, my dad spent 25 years in jail. So I didn't really grow up with a father figure. But again, I grew up with a lot of men in and out of the house. My mom don't think I seen it, but I seen everything, and I remember. And me and my mom don't talk just because I told her, like, unless we go to therapy, there's really nothing else to talk about.
Does your mom go to therapy with you?
No.
So what made you want to even go to therapy? Because of that, right?
Yes, because somebody told me I was acting like my mother, and I had to catch myself in that instance. It's like, because that's not who I want to be. Again, I'm very grateful and blessed of everything she's done for me, but how I seen her treat people and how she moves in her life, I just wasn't a fan of. So I know I didn't want to be like that.
Do you feel like that's why it's so easy for you to, because dude, you are one of the most self-disciplined person I know. You're so consistent. It's not a lot of people like that. To have self-discipline, self-awareness. And do you feel like that's why it's so easy for you to keep pushing, because like you never want to go back to, comparison to your mom?
I think it's because I understand that I can apply self-discipline in every area of life, and it's not just for fitness or work, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Again, when I have a mentor, Jamal King, which taught me the 5 pillars, right? Family, freedom, faith, fitness, and finance.
Yeah.
But when we talk about balance, he made me understand that I can be 100% in each area.
Yeah.
As men growing up, we don't see that. We only see a man, if he has a lot of money, he is probably cheating on his wife and his kid, he don't talk to his kids. Or if he's in shape,
Negative connotations.
You feel me? But again, we never seen one man have it all. So a couple years ago, I was able to train Jamal, but then getting around him and getting around a man with a different mindset kind of changed my mindset of like, again, I was in a relationship for 3 years and it failed because I didn't take the girl out on one date because I didn't see the value of the relationship. But again, when I talked to Jamal, he was like, no, I love my wife because God tells me to love my wife the way I need to love her.
Right.
So it's a bigger purpose than actually the person. And again, because I'm self-aware, I understood that my relationship was going to fail because I didn't put any effort into it and I valued work over it. I still can, but I should have valued that relationship the same as I value work.
Yeah.
But in my head, I just didn't see it that way at the time. So again, I tell people it's my fault. Like everything in my life,
accountability is the biggest thing. So,
but that's the thing people don't kind of understand. Like everything, every position, me being here with you guys is my fault. Like everything, whether it goes good, right, whether it goes good or bad, I put it on me. I will never be like, oh, y'all dragged me out here. I got a ticket on my car. I got hit. Like no, like that's on me because I chose to be here. So I take accountability for everything in my life.
Can I ask you, because it's so nice and cute to see like the end result of who you are as Heck, right? But like there's beauty in the journey, and I feel like for a lot of men and women, we tend to, deflect on other things or like be satisfied by the wrong things, going out, drinking, all of that. So like what in your childhood really led you to like this position in your life?
Playing sports for sure. So it was me being disciplined and then, having this dream. I'm thinking I'm going to go to the NBA. So I've always been a disciplined person.
Would you play basketball?
Yeah. And so, but again, my mom put fear in me, was like, if you get any girls pregnant, again, I was a virgin till I was 18.
Me
Again,
too.
I didn't mess around with nothing. I didn't drink. I didn't smoke until I got to college. Like even then, that was a short span. But it was just like I was just never that person to want to go out. I was always that person like to want to be better. And I tell people like I'm blessed to be influenced by the right things. I was listening to Eric Thomas, the motivational videos, the things in high school that kept me on track.
Yep.
So it was just me listening to that and being influenced. Like I tell people, Uncle Phil raised me as a father, watching The Fresh Prince. Martin, being those type of men that I seen that were funny, that were playing sports.
Yeah.
So, but I got influenced by that, where a lot of people get influenced by the other things, the wrong movies, the wrong influences. But I was just blessed to have that and then kind of follow that path.
Wow. How do you you have a lot of confidence, and I love that. Do you feel like people think it's cockiness?
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
But they don't understand the work that it takes. Like mentally, I've had to go on therapy for like 8 years.
Yeah.
But you have to start young, and you have to go through those trials and tribulations of, I haven't done everything right. Like people look at me now like, oh, you think you're perfect. No, I know what I had to do to get here. I know all my mess ups are on me.
Yeah.
They're not on nobody else, not where I went to school, not who I mess with. Like I've done everything, and it's on me. But a lot of people just don't understand that. But again, I've have this mindset. But again, God gives me all this, and I believe that He's given me everything that I can do. And that's why it's like, okay, if I want to start a podcast, who says I can't do it, right? So if I know God gives me the ability to do anything, that's where that confidence comes from.
Yeah.
Because when I see it, I see a lot of people like doubt themselves at first. But I'm like, if you believe in God, how don't you believe in yourself? Or if He put everything in you, why don't you believe in that?
Yeah, that's one thing I literally admire about you, that you really don't focus on people who hate on you. You really only focus on people who love you, and people need to recognize that.
But I don't see it. Like you gotta understand, in my circle and where I am, I'm in the gym, right? Like even on social media, nobody's gonna be
your
like
environment.
Yeah, like again, I only
who you surround yourself with.
Yes, but they're only my clients, and then they turn into relationships. And again, I'm not out there in basketball leagues. I'm not hanging on the block. I'm at work, but that's where I want to be. So I tell people I got lucky because I got three things. I got a passion, I got a paycheck, and I got a purpose all in one place. So I don't have to go anywhere. Like a lot of people don't even have as much human interaction as me on a daily. They don't feel fulfilled on what they do. And then again, they don't have a purpose in life. And again, for me, everybody's purpose in life is to serve somebody else. So I'm doing that all in one place. And luckily I get paid the amount I want to get paid.
That was one of the questions I had for you. What is Heck's purpose of life?
To serve.
Yeah.
Like, but it's because life isn't about me. Like I know I have to take care of self to take care of everybody else, but that's the mental, the physical, the spiritual. I need to be better so I can help other people. And I don't know if we talked about it. I read this book, the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, where it's like one of the laws is the law of the lid. So if I'm a 7 or 8 and you're my mentee, I cannot bring you over a 7 or 8 because that's where I am. So in order for you to get to a different level, you're going to have to go under new mentorship, or I have to raise my level up to a 9 or 10 in order to bring you up.
Right.
Because you only can bring somebody up to the level that you are. They will never supersede you unless they go under a different mentor.
Right.
So that's how.
Can I ask you, have you ever derailed from your purpose?
No. Like the crazy thing is, like my career has only ever gone up, but that's because I'm consistent and I'm disciplined in that. Now, let's say in my personal life, the only way it almost derailed is I thought I got a girl pregnant, or she said it was mine and it ended up not being mine, and the baby was here, and we had like 3 baby showers. Everybody was excited it was going to be my kid, and this was back in 2019.
You don't feel like you spiraled after that?
No, because I went to therapy before, 4 or 5 years before that. So the good thing was, and again, once we were done, I went to therapy with her. And I sat there and like, we'll go to your therapist because I need to understand your thought process on why didn't you just tell me it wasn't mine? Like, it's okay.
Right.
But again, she hated it at the time because her therapist loved me. But I'm like, I've been doing this. I know. Yeah. And again, I can be honest. I wasn't nice to her during the pregnancy. I didn't want the baby with her. So again, I was very vocal and I wasn't nice, but I can say that. And again, I told that to her therapist, like, that's on me. Like,
you were
hey,
honest.
How old were you when you started therapy?
25.
Okay.
So again, I got lucky because a lot of men don't go until 30s or 40s. But again, you have to recognize that you're the problem.
I think there's such a negative stigma around therapy, though. Like, you're weak, or that you're like mentally incapable or unstable.
You know what it is? we're all Hispanic, so I think in a Hispanic household, especially growing up, my dad thinks it's like you got to be fucking out your fucking mind to go to therapy. But I feel like it's so crazy. I always be like, you need to go to therapy. I ain't never stepped foot in therapy. But I feel like if I knew what therapy was, it was kind of like the conversations we've had. You know, you're self-reflecting. It's not going because you think you're fucking crazy. You're just self-reflecting on who you are, becoming more self-aware. And a lot of people don't think that though.
So it's crazy because I had this one conversation with this dude at the gym. He was like, I don't need therapy, but I had to break it down into the movie John Q with Denzel and Antoine Fisher, right?
Yeah.
So I had to break it down like Denzel was just a therapist. And once he understood it, like you said, you have to break it down to what are you there for? And it's just understanding your thought process. And if you like who you are, you don't need to go, or if you don't want to elevate your mindset on different perspectives, or again, we talked about it, how to communicate about certain things, then hey, you don't have to. But again, for me, it was just like I needed emotional intelligence more than anything.
Yeah.
Like
You
that's
need to
why
understand yourself.
Right. And so people get mad. I don't say they get mad at me, but they're like, Hector, you're a robot. I say, no, I just control my emotions very well.
That's crazy.
Because I can sit in them without acting on them.
Right.
Like,
That's huge.
but that's the reason why most people are in jail, because they just didn't sit on those emotions. They reacted to them, and it led them to make a decision that they're going to have to regret.
React to temporary emotions too.
Exactly.
To top that off.
Exactly. So again, but it's work. It's not like something that can change
That's
overnight.
overnight.
Exactly. So once you understand it and you actually work at it, you're going to master it. And people are like, well, you don't feel anything. I said, no, you just don't see that I feel anything. I'll process everything, and it happens so fast. But that's why it's like I can tell when you going through something or something. I'm like, all right, what happened?
Yeah.
Let's talk. But again,
You used to be like, I know how I could trigger you because you be showing it, and a lot of people don't know that too.
Yeah.
They show their triggers.
Yeah, but that's the thing of like, but I've known who has done the work, and I know who hasn't.
Yeah.
So it's just sitting there like, what do you want to do? Do we want to address this or not?
You actually just said something too that I feel like I'm trying to work on more. You want to serve to people because that's what you feel like, that's your purpose. I feel like I'm that type of person too, but it's like, when is enough with people? You know, when you're serving yourself too much to people, you're giving too much of your all. You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm in a place in my life where I feel not a little guilty for walking away from people that I can't serve no more. It's because you can only repeat yourself so much to people, or like, you know, I just learned boundaries. So I feel like I feel a little guilty when I walk away from people, but then if my purpose, I want to serve people, help people, but when do you know when enough is enough?
Well, to me, those are two different things. Those are just your boundaries with your homies. I'm not, as much as I'm there to serve them, that's not the people who I'm here to serve. I'm here to serve people who can't basically help themselves. But when it comes to my homies, it's just like they know what I do and where I'm at, right? So remember, if I go outside randomly, people are like, I need to get in the gym. Oh, I need to better do whatever.
That's the first thing they want to say to you because you be in the gym.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that, again, that's just, they know who I am. They know I'm not outside. They know I don't do that. But even with my friends, it's like some people can't come around because it's uncomfortable, because you have to show up as a certain person around me, because we're going to talk about what you've been doing, why you haven't been doing this, why you haven't been doing that, why are you outside when you know you're supposed to do it, like, because that's who I am. So it's uncomfortable for people to be around me because they know they have to elevate of which they said they want to do, until you see me and now you actually have to do the work.
I feel like another thing too, I feel like you are very emotionally intelligent. So do you feel like when you become so emotionally intelligent, it's so hard to date?
No. Again, I can just ask the right questions and see where you are. So it's not really hard to date. You just got to figure out who you're dating, and then understand quickly what their emotional reaction is. But it doesn't take more than a couple conversations to understand where somebody's at. Like you just ask a few questions, like, oh, okay, cool. But then you actually have to ask them, why do you think like that? Because I actually just had this conversation at the gym where it's like, this girl is 35, not about dating, just in general. I'm like, she brought up the way I was raised. I'm like, at what age do we look at it? It's like, you can't use that as an excuse anymore, right? But sometimes people say there isn't an age, but I'm sitting there looking at it like, if you're 35 and you don't know this, what have you been doing with your life? So I don't have to go deeper into that person. It's like, I know where they are already, because if they still use what happened to them years ago, they haven't want to try to either get out of that trauma or try to fix it or heal from it. So you're choosing to stay in that at that point. Because again, life is about...
So you know better to separate yourself with people who really don't want to elevate themselves.
Well, because we are truly only what we do, not what we say we're going to do. So again, how many people tell me, oh, heck, I want to get in shape? I said, I hear you, but I don't believe you until you actually show me.
Yeah.
Because again, if I tell this all the time, if I say I love you, do you believe the words or do you believe the actions?
Yeah.
The actions. I can't tell you I love you 1,000,001 times and never show you and never show up for you, never be on time, never gift you things. So you really don't love something. And again, you really don't want what you say you want. You just like the way it sounds at that point.
Yeah, no, that's real.
Well, you don't seem someone that's easy to date. So what is it that you look for in a woman?
So, but explain, like, what makes me not easy to date?
More in the sense that you sound like you're confident, you know what you want, what you value, what you look for in a woman. So, like, what?
But why? No, hold on.
I want to help her out a little bit. Go ahead.
So, but why is that hard?
No, what do you mean?
You said is it people? It's hard to date me. That's what you said.
Well, I guess more so like you know what you're looking for. So, is there a caliber of woman that you're looking to date? Like, obviously, you have standards. There's a level you're not gonna. So
it's just standards and prerequisites, but it's not hard.
Do you think it's like what you're trying to say? Is it like it's not easy to have access to heck? Like a lot of girls can't have the access to heck.
So it just depends on what I want at the moment I want it. Like getting out of my relationship, I wasn't looking for nothing serious. And I messed up a lot by not dating intentionally. Yeah. But again, I learned that lesson the hard way now that I know to only date intentionally, but it took me 33 years to learn it. Again, I've met a lot of families way before I've actually been with these people. But again,
that's because you're so transparent. They'd be like, heck, come to the cookout.
But I'm cool with them. But again, I have to, for my sake, understand that, yes, I'm just going to Thanksgiving or Christmas, but to them it means more. But that's my fault for not communicating or just removing myself from that situation and making people think it is more than what it is. But at that time, if I'm dating you, I like you, so I don't mind being there. But it is premature if we're not together. So again, but that's my fault. That's not their fault.
Yeah.
Again, I'm the smarter one to understand that, heck, you can't keep doing this. I'm telling you, I've met a lot of families in relation, but a lot of women I've never been in a relation with. Yes, they love me till this day, but that's my fault. And again, I put it on me for hurting their daughters multiple times. And so again, like I can say that that's my fault, but that's the reason why I would never, ever from this point out of my life.
When did you learn that it was your fault?
What you mean? No, I've always known it was my fault, but I've learned not to date unintentionally now. Like now,
damn, I gotta wait till my dude's 33.
But again,
longer, sis.
Exactly, because it's hard. Because again, if most men, again, you said it perfectly. Like it's what you value. Again, if women, I said this earlier, if women value money and dudes value sex, they belong together. Like leave them people alone. I'm not gonna sit here and try to change a woman's value to be like, oh, you value money, you shouldn't. No, if that's what you value at that time in your life, cool. I'm not going to sit there and try to change you.
Right. So what do you value in a woman?
Honesty, communication, character is big. It's just like how you treat me, how you treat yourself, how you show up for yourself, how you show up for your family, and just like your spirit in general. Is like, is it giving? And again, I understand what women value by what they do on a day-to-day basis or what I talk to them about in the conversations that we have. So, I mean, once I get to know them, and again, it has to be like a feeling, like it's that chemistry, but then also the prerequisites, like, okay, what are you doing for yourself? How do you upkeep yourself? Things like that. Yeah. So it's not hard to date me. It's just, again, I have to be very intentional on, do I just want to date? And again, I've learned now I would never date multiple people at the same time.
So this is how I feel. I feel like a lot of people who do become emotionally intelligent, it sometimes comes off very narcissistic. Because it's like you think you know it all. Not saying that it's you. I mean, it could be you sometimes. But it does come off very narcissistic, very manipulative. And I feel like, like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's
hard to know.
But I told you this earlier is more as a couple things. There's a mental war going on out here between people. If you're not equipped, I can take advantage of you all day, every day, because you haven't done the therapy work yourself or the mental work yourself. So I can get you to move to my beat easily. Right. But again, do I use those powers for good or bad?
Right.
Secondly, it's the value thing or the intentions. I should know better. It's like if me and you go on a date and you say, hey, I'm not looking for nothing serious, but hey, I'm looking for marriage. People just don't know how to cut that off.
Right.
They want to try to change your mind to be like, oh, you're going to want to marry me. And I'm sitting there like, that's your ego talking. When I should just be able to cut that off at that first date because we're just not looking for the same thing.
You know what it is too? I feel like, and I'm kind of just knowing this and being more self-aware with myself, a lot of women and men don't know how to even give. It's hard to be 100% every day. But I feel like if you don't give yourself 80%, how do you expect a man to give you what you need? You know what I mean? If you could give yourself 80% and you get in a relationship, all you need is your partner to give you at least 20%. And what's that? honesty, transparency, just respect.
But again, it's just what you value. A lot of women who value money don't care about your transparency, respect, or honesty. They just want your money. So again, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to let people who value the same things date each other.
Yeah.
If you don't value the same things, just leave them alone. But again, it's men's ego. Because again, let's just say it like this. A lot of women who value money might be thick, skin, like small waist, big butt. We want them physically, but we're going to try to change their mind to get them to sleep with us. For what? For temporary satisfaction. But I'm not going to sit there and do it. Like, cool, if that's an exchange that y'all want, great. But I shouldn't have to change somebody's value or change who I am and change what I value for somebody else. If you value what you value, make sure you stand on that. And again, by the time you date, you should just stick to that. Because if somebody can make you change your values, that's not the person for them, unless they're better values, right?
Right.
But, and then the last thing is accountability, because I can be honest and transparent with you for the first couple dates, but you got to hold me to that. So anytime I'm not who I say I am, you need to nip it in the butt. And it's not a red flag. Just be like, hey, you told me you were consistent, or you told me you were going to call me these days and you haven't. What's going on? So just ask the question again, like we talk about.
Just being honest.
Your approach might be a little aggressive, but it's sitting there like, just make them aware of what they said they were going to do. The problem is we don't ask questions up front, so you have nothing to hold them accountable to. So if you be like, a lot of people be like, well, I thought we were just messing around. Well, you didn't ask no questions on what are your intentions.
Clarify, right?
Exactly. So if you didn't clarify in the beginning what this was, then when you go down the line, it just makes it more complicated in the end. So
man, that's real.
So it's just it's literally just asking the right questions and then just holding people accountable to what they say they're going to do.
Yep.
And remember, I told you, we only are what we actually do, not what we say we're going to do.
Yeah. Sorry, sis. One more question that I have for you. As a physical trainer, what do you feel about like BBLs? I feel like that's been a big topic lately.
So again, I don't care either way, because you're still gonna have to come see me. So again, like the slogan,
Still gonna have to pay the price.
Exactly. So it's like all roads lead back to heck. Whether you have a BBL, whether you're injured, whether you're fat, whether you're skinny, I don't care what it is. You're gonna have to come see me for some sort of thing. But again, you have to give me more of a specific question, like, how do I feel about it? I mean, I just have to ask the person, why did you go get it? Right? Did you need something for it? And a lot of women be like, oh, I did it for myself. Well, why? Were you not satisfied with yourself? Or again, like, did you not want to go into the gym? Remember, a lot of people go get
or it's the image they're trying to portray.
Right. And so but that's the thing. But a lot of women aren't honest with that, like with themselves. Right. Now, you don't got to be honest.
I agree.
So it's just like, okay, why did you get the BBL? I'm like, it's different if you using it to get some money or to get men to see you. But a lot of people can't even elaborate that to say that out of their mouth, like that's the reason they want it. Or I did it for self-love. Well, that doesn't make sense. Well, why didn't you just get in the gym and get healthy? But why do you feel like you need that to get whatever that you like? Imagine you're telling me you need a big butt to love yourself. Listen to how that sounds. Like, you're telling me out of who you are as a person, that doesn't mean anything unless you have a big butt.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of women, what she just said, they get a BBL and then it's just like, okay, where's the confidence? Where's the personality? You got to work on your inner self before you can even work on your outer self.
I also think it's just the environment you're in. Like, we've been in bottle service. All those girls have BBLs. You know what I mean? Like, it's very common to want to have that.
I've been a little thing next to 5 big booties.
But again, like that's okay, because again, if their goal is like, let me get this so I can use that to get money, I can't. They're not wrong. Hey, if you feel like you're gonna
you can't deny someone's truth. Yeah, like
if
that's
you're doing this to get some more money, I can't stop your hustle. Hey, you know a big booty is gonna get you paid by these people that value that. Go ahead. It just I just need to make sure, or I want to understand that people are very self-aware of why they do what they do. That's it. I don't care what you do. I just need to know do you know why you did what you did? Yeah. That's the only thing I truly care about.
No, that's real.
Yeah. Hearing you talk more though, because like Malaya would tell me things about you. I obviously don't know you personally, but like you bring up a lot of hard truths to people. And I think that's why you do come off, kind of like that cocky, intimidating, arrogant type of person, but like you're just really telling people what they don't want to hear.
And it's the way I deliver it.
Arrogant is crazy.
No, I mean, but I get it. But like, it's the confidence in myself to do whatever they do. Like I tell you, I can be better than anybody at anything just because I believe it. But then again, I know who I am, and then I'm going to go do it because you know who I am. Like a lot of people can be like, oh, Heck said he's going to do it. He's going to, again, the same way I got baptized. I took my walk with God very seriously. I took my go get a property like I tell people what I'm going to do and I do it. That's why they believe me. But somebody is going to be like, yeah, I'm going to lose weight. And you be like, no, you're not. Yeah. Because you know them as a person. But that's the thing of like, who I need to be to myself is important, and who God needs me to be is very much more important than that. And I just try to show up as that every day. But again, I'm very rare only in the fact that I found a purpose and a career I can do what I want. Again, and then I can make the money I want, and then I can treat people, good and do all that. But again, not everybody gets that opportunity to work every day, because again, I don't feel like I'm going to work every day. Again, we have conversations and I'm like, man, this is my job to help you work out and to help you with your mindset. Like this is just life. It's what you need to kind of,
it's your fun, like you always say. That's your fun.
Exactly. Like I don't even with traveling, is like the only way I felt good was when I went to the DR and I went to go speak. On Ghana trip was great, but I didn't have true fun until I was boxing with the kids or playing basketball with the kids. Like I like to add value everywhere I go. Like it's no purpose on me just going to travel. Again, I just don't have fun just sitting there chilling. Like that's not what I'm here for. Like it's great. Like people want to have their fun, but unless I'm truly helping you, like to me, I just don't want to be there. You
feel like that's like your success.
Yeah, like but that's my purpose. Like I am only here, like, how can I help you? What can I do for you? Like that's the only reason I am here. And again, and now it's like me having a helping hand. It's like I know I need to put the right team around me. Yeah. Again, I want to give away $5 million in the next 5 years. I want to send over 400 people to therapy. I want to help all the kids that are obese. I want to help the elderly that feel like they can't walk and that it's over for them. Like, hey, we're going to add another 10, 20 years on your life just by doing certain movements. But I have to be this person for them to respect me, trust me, and then follow. Because if I don't do none of the stuff I'm preaching, then they're not just going to look at me like, why are we going to listen to you?
You got to walk your talk.
Exactly. Yep. And so that's what I try to do.
Is there someone currently in your life or has been in your life that has told you your truths?
As far as what?
The way that you kind of tell people what they don't want to hear. Has there been anyone in your life to do the same for you, or you have just been that person for yourself?
I think I've been that person for myself, but the perspective is the mentor that I have, Jamal King, is just like he opened up my perspective to think about things differently. And again, even with balance of those 5 pillars that I talked about, I thought I only had to be great at work, but it's still serving. But again, I could still do all that and be in a relationship. I could still do that and have my walk with God, because balance isn't even time with everything. It's even energy with everything. Like working out might take 2 hours. With your family time might take an hour. Work might take 8 hours. But it's the energy that I put towards each pillar of my life that matters, that I keep being great at all, because I can't just be great at 4 pillars and not be great at one. Like I need to be great in all areas of life. So I understand it because I've actually seen it now from a man, where it's like it's possible to be great in all areas of life. And social media has this thing where it's like, oh, you only need to be great at one thing. And I'm like, yeah, for a career. Right. But it doesn't mean you don't work out. It doesn't mean you don't take care of your family. That doesn't mean you can't be in the gym, where a lot of people think I just need to make money and just let everything else slide.
That's what I was going to ask you next. We did a podcast with Samson, another male. We had a lot of male interaction, and I just want to ask you, like, for someone that's watching, what would you advise them to be their first step? Because you're throwing a lot out there. Like, what can they do today, right now, to change their tomorrow?
They have to understand that they want better. So we always talk about, like, you have to start with the vision of who do you want to be, and like, how do you even want to be seen? Like, what type of person do you want to be? We don't ask kids who they want to be. We ask them, what do you want to be? Oh, you want to be a firefighter, you want to be an NBA player. But no, like, who do you want to be, right? Do you want to be hardworking? Do you want to be disciplined? Do you want to be dedicated?
Confident.
And not just in one area of life, all of them. So we're asking kids the wrong question. But again, self-awareness is the biggest thing. So therapy is what I would always suggest, because again, I couldn't see myself from my eyes, so I need somebody else to see me. So the person who tells me my truth would be my therapist then, right? They'd be like, hey, Heck, do you realize you do this because of this or that because of that? Because you only can see from your eyes. Right. So you need somebody else that I trust. And again, I got lucky because my therapist I went to college with. So I didn't have to search in the network. I didn't have to go find 5 or 10 other therapists. I got lucky enough to be one, but again, I was blessed, and I'm a blessing, where it's like I sent over 50 people to therapy, right? She was able to stop working for a firm and start her own firm. So it's like I put assistants to help her. I've done everything, where it's like, again, for my non-for-profit, I send people to her to go, hey, I'll pay for your therapy. I'll do whatever I need to do, because again, I want to give back, because I know how important it is.
Are a lot of them your clients?
Yeah, some of them are. Yeah, like, again, like, I got people who have to deal with grief and who haven't. I'm like, I'll pay for you. Even their kids, I'll pay for. I'm like, look, it's not hard. But again, they need somebody to trust. It's be like, they'll be on the fence about it, but then it takes somebody like me to be like, oh, no, let's go ahead. Yeah. But they have to trust me first in order to let me lead them into the right direction of, no, of where they know they want to be, but it's scary. Like healing isn't fun. Healing isn't right. It's not a great feeling at first, but you know you need to get through it. So on the other side is a different mindset, a different way to carry yourself, and then after that, you kind of live in this peaceful, joyful life every day. Like again, you've seen me. I've never walked in that gym mad, upset. I might be a little tired, but other than that, like I never have a bad day. Like I said,
show up with a great attitude.
And that's what I say, every day is a good day, just because I truly believe that mindset of whatever I've been through or whatever happens to me is still going to be a good day. But again, I have to do all that work to finally get to this side of it.
Yeah. There was so with healing too, I feel like a lot of men too don't want to sit with their emotions, and that's why they become spirally. They start spiraling and start acting crazy, self-sabotaging. So like, what could you say with that?
I mean, again, it's awareness. They have to first understand that there is a problem to address the problem. If I don't know there's a problem there, then I have nothing to fix.
Yeah.
But again, it might take somebody who they actually need to listen to or respect to tell them like, hey man, you might want to fix that just because it might jeopardize something in the future. But then again, they have to respect that person and actually sit with themselves and be like, man, okay, maybe I do need to change that. But if they don't see a problem with themselves, they will never, ever change like who they are. So,
and I feel like also too, you start to really realize who people are when you become when you start healing. Because I feel like for my journey, I started to see people for who they really are, and I'm like, damn, I gotta cut you off. And if it sucks, but it's just like, I don't feel like you can move forward with me in this season of my life.
Very true. But then again, you get to realizing you that person too.
Yeah.
Like realizing damn,
it's a reflection.
And so it's like, why am I
literally
around? So now it's like, damn, why are they still around me when I did all this bad stuff? Or it's like, why would they even want to be friends with me if I haven't acted right? I snap.
Yep.
So it's like, as much as we always talk about cutting people off, understand you got cut off for a couple reasons too.
Yeah.
And now you have to be aware of it. Like, man, why did that person leave my life? It's not, everybody's like, oh, it's them. It's like, no, it's you too. Like, again, I've done some things where it's just like, okay, cool. People cut me off because I did. And it's like, you know what? If I come back everybody's allowed back in my life as long as they apologize.
Mm-hmm. And I gotta say, we're both really big on therapy, mental health, and getting into it really just shows you your vulnerability. Apologizing takes a lot of fucking balls.
Yeah.
But it's just putting your pride and ego aside.
But it's not just
no,
it is just that. But what we feel inside when we do that, at least for me, I used to be very embarrassed.
Why?
Doing things like that.
Okay, but why?
My ego.
That's what I'm saying. That's why to me it's easy, because you have to, you have
to strip your ego down to be able to do that.
But that's why I tell you, that's all it is. It's ego and pride. It's just literally putting it to the side and be like, you know what, that's on me. And that's why it's our embarrassment, our anger is from that ego point. It's not from anywhere else. So once you strip that, it's just like, oh, well, you know what, that's why I can be like, hey, that's my bad. If I didn't show up on time, or if I'm late to this, that's on me. That's not on you.
Let's take it a step further. We do that. What if we don't get the outcome we want?
Why are you looking for an outcome when you apologize?
That's my point, though. It's we
were just talking about that.
Yes,
you went through that.
Yes.
But that's the thing where it's I'm not apologizing to you to get a reaction. I'm doing it because I feel bad
for myself.
Yeah, I do it because, again, I don't apologize to my mom for how I acted. Now, I'm not going to get her apology or her accountability for what she's done for me for over the past years. But again, I'd be crazy to even expect that from her. Yes, she's older, but I don't expect somebody who doesn't know or doesn't have the capability to do something to actually show me something. If you don't have it, I can't ask you for $1 million if you don't have $1 million. So if they don't have it, I can't require or expect it back if I know that person doesn't have it.
Do you feel like therapy kind of gave you a little more compassion for human beings?
Yes and no. Because now it's at a point where it's I know when you're self-sabotaging, so it's not anybody else. A lot of people want to blame God for the situation. I'm like, it's you.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. It's hard for me. Compassion. If something happened to you, I get it. If you're choosing,
I can sense that. Yeah.
If you're choosing to stay in the same place, I don't have compassion. I have compassion for you, but I'm not finna baby you. I'm not finna enable you. And again, I have to ask, okay, do I need to give you a kick in the pants, or do I got to coddle you to be like, it's okay, come on, let's go. So it's me understanding that. But again, I feel like most people, again, I could be wrong, is they had the coddling. So it's now you need the tough love, which you never got. So I give that to you. And again, some people respond differently on how I do it. But again, it's just the way I approach things to get people from A to B. And again, I can only change people's bodies if I change people's minds.
So let's talk about it in a more personal sense. Do you believe loving people where they're at or leaving them where they're at?
So I used to not meet people where they're at and then bring them to me instantly. You have to be where I am. But now, depending on where I see them in my life, I'll meet them where they're at and then bring them to where I am. But again, it's just again, I've had a couple of mentees, and the thing is, I know you're serious if you do what I told you to do. If you didn't, then you're not serious. And then again, I'm just gonna leave you where you are because you're not showing me. From my same thing with y'all podcast, like the first one is not gonna be as great as the 50th one, but you have to start somewhere and actually believe that, hey, we're gonna get better each and every time.
Yeah, and shit, with each episode, I feel like we're learning something new, and it's still a learning process. We're still new to this, and you know. But
you're doing it though.
Yeah.
So, but again, that's the thing. You only learn by actually doing it. I'm always the person that's trying to be better. And again, people don't like it because they have to show up a certain way when they're around me, or they feel like I'm talking down on them, or they always tell me I got this God complex. Well, I'm like, listen, I'm just following God, and but that's
I thought that about you.
That's
not gonna lie.
But see, but again, it's just like
that's crazy.
But it's for people who don't know me. That's
what. Here's the thing, though.
Go ahead.
Because my first impression of you was through text, right?
Yeah.
Because in person we really didn't get to talk. Through text was like crazy. Like I was like, this guy, like, did you think you were doing us a favor by coming on this podcast?
No, but it was the entitlement of which you feel like I had to do it at my gym, because the first question you asked was like, why not? So in my head, that's why it comes off miscommunication, because of the tone that I can hear it in. Where it's like, this is my spot. Why do you feel like
it's the tone you think I would give?
Yes, proceed. That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. But again, how it comes off because we're not in person is like to me, it felt like you guys were entitled to use my space of like, well, why not? Instead of just go on to the next option. So to me, again, that's how again, it could be wrong, but again,
so you reacted to my assumed entitlement
for sure, and that's why I said like no. But it's okay because I can. But again, it's my stuff, so I can say no and be okay with it.
Yeah.
Because
to give you a more idea of who I am, I'm just a problem solver. So to me, it's like, okay, like what can we do then? What's next? Like let's get it done, because we had a vision here with you. So I'm still glad you came on. It did give me a different perception of you. But I did tell
Okay,
Leia,
but besides that, was that the only thing that you thought of me? Like that's what made you think that God complex? Was this that one conversation, or was it something else? Because again, if we're only going, you did the same thing. If it goes off that one conversation, then
no, I think it was just because the conversation continued, so it was just like but it's from difficult.
Okay, but it's just that text thread, nothing else. No, go ahead, because you got to be honest.
Be honest with yourself.
Is there more like before that? Because again, if we're just talking that conversation, I can understand that point. But if it's something before that conversation, or whether you came in and when we had our session, you felt a certain way, or is it just this conversation?
I would say a little bit of both.
What's give me the other side.
Well, that was long ago, but I just felt it was giving me like, I hate to compare you, but it was giving me kind of Samson, like,
and I get
similar qualities. Like I
what?
really thought that like you were gonna come in here, go like
humble. You know how it was Samson, it was like humble people, like.
But again, y'all have a different relationship with Samson, right? But again, I seen it. But again, it's just like. You said it funny, where it's like you felt like he was intimidated by you.
Yeah.
Right. That's what you said. But it's okay. But it's a difference. It's like I don't feel like anybody can intimidate me just because of the work I've done. But again, I don't come in spaces. Again, I'm very grateful and blessed. Y'all even wanted me on here. I don't take it as like I'm entitled to. Y'all better put me on.
Right.
Like,
no. And to give you a little more backstory, like I did tell Malaya, like, man, I really wish he understood, like. You are wise. You do carry yourself in a lot of ways men don't. They're scared to be the type of man you are because they don't even know their own truth. They don't walk in their own truth. So it's like, I did give you your praise because you're very knowledgeable. And we love to have you here. So thank you for coming.
No, I really appreciate y'all for having me. But again, I don't want to. And again, I apologize if it came off like that way. Because again, that's on me. But again, I already knew how that conversation went. That's what I'm saying. If you can base it off that conversation, then that's on me. Then that's my fault for going back and forth with you about it. But again, like I said, that's just how I perceived it. But again, I'm okay to be like, hey, that's my fault for reading that way.
It's just miscommunication. It's true.
And that's why. But again, a lot of people lose relationships just off those small things because of what they feel. Instead of getting on the FaceTime call and be like, all right, what's the issue? Like, let me know. But again, I'm very big on like, hey, if it's on me, hey, tell me. I always want people to tell me. But that's why you say I don't feel no hate, because nobody really tells me anything if they do. And it's sitting there like, you can't tell me.
You feel like people can't speak up to you?
No, I feel like they can, but I feel like it's only people that don't know me.
Right.
You can't tell me I'm around all these people. I have these great relationships. I have all this stuff going on, and I'm a bad person.
Yeah.
Like, just like if somebody really has to tell me, like who doesn't like me or who hates on me? Like when I truly ask the question, I'm sitting there like, I don't know these people.
But I feel like they do that because they don't know you though, and I feel like they see the confidence and they're intimidated by that. Because I'm like, I don't get it, but like when people do feel a type of way, like I told you one time I was at a gym and a guy was like, "You training with Heck?" Like,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, why? Like that's what, and that's the thing where I'm like, I'm sitting there like, I just train more people than you. I do everything more. But again, the problem is I think they just don't see how much work I put in.
Right.
Like they feel like, oh, I just popped up. But I've been doing this since I was 21. I was in fitness before everybody was in. Like I was doing bodybuilding when everybody's doing bodybuilding now. The fitness influencer didn't exist when I first started this.
When did you know it was like your peak year? You know, like when everybody has that peak where like, oh, I'm really doing it. Like I really feel like I'm taking off right now.
Probably 2018 or 19. But again, that's because I brought my first celebrities in it. Like I will never ever claim a celebrity trainer unless it gets me into a door I need.
Right.
Because I don't go around and be like, oh, I'm Hector, the celebrity trainer.
Right.
No, like, yes, I've known Jacob since 2018. That's like my little brother.
Yeah.
Like again, we have deep conversations, bigger than that. Even me and Luke, like we just have those conversations. But again, I'm more than a trainer. So it's not just fitness. Like, yeah, that fitness portion is there. But again, I get people to trust me and I get them to listen to me.
I think the way she said it was best too, like a life coach.
Yeah.
What is your majority of your clients male, female?
Female.
I'm gonna ask that.
No, female. Like at least 90%.
Why do you think that is?
Because men don't spend money on fitness. And if they do, it's more of an online thing. But again, it's a pride
and it's an ego thing. Because it's like,
they
I'm
don't
not
want
going to learn from another man when I know, like, bro, shut the fuck up.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm just like, hey, I could train you and your girl. Like it doesn't.
Right. I know that.
But not even in a cocky way. It's just like, hey, both of y'all can come together.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people do have the stigma that I either sleep with my clients or it's like, oh, they're cheating.
Have you ever slept with your clients?
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Like as my client?
Like,
I don't let me lie on it. Like I've slept with a couple clients, but it's like they've never had boyfriends. And again, we took it outside of training. So it was like that.
Yeah.
But of course, like I'm attracted, but I never, because I wouldn't be in business this long if I slept with all of my clients and I hit on all of my clients.
Yeah, if you were messy.
Like it's different if people come at me and be like, oh no, I'm good, I'm straight. Or if like, okay, cool, you want to throw it at me.
It was mutual.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. So it's different. Like I've been in the game for 10 years. If I was this bad person and I tried to sleep with all my clients, I wouldn't have this type of clientele.
Exactly.
I wouldn't have
retention.
So that's what I'm saying. People look at me and like, Heck sleep with all his clients. I said, you think they all paying me and giving me some?
Yeah.
I say, man, I'm not that good. Like,
Right.
But that's crazy to think that.
It is, and I actually take it back with saying that you're expensive because I feel like you are affordable.
Yeah.
Like I actually thought you could have been even higher, to be honest.
But I like that image that you think I'm even more than what I actually
It's actually super humbling too, because like I paid for a trainer that costs the same as you in Wisconsin in a small town. But I think it just may be expensive to people who are like, they don't really have the knowledge of what to really invest in. And just you were probably the best thing I invested in, just with my fitness and just physical and just mentally, just becoming a better person too. So I think people should understand that too when you are booking a trainer.
I appreciate that. But go ahead.
I was gonna say another thing that I relate to you on is like because I'm a realtor obviously, so there's so many realtors out there. I feel like there's so many personal trainers out there.
Yeah.
What makes you different than the export trainers, the LA fitness trainers?
Because he Heck dog.
But nothing. Like I talked about this earlier. Nothing makes me special. In my head. No, I'm serious, because there's nothing that if somebody looked at me and be like, I can do what Hector does. Yes, if you just put in the work. Like I don't think I'm special enough that I have something inside me that nobody else can do. It's just work. That's the problem where, I told you to watch it, Stutz, right? What did he say?
We watched it.
But that's what I told you. Once you understand the three things with constant work, pain, and uncertainty, like I know constant work is always going to happen. People look for constant work and look for a result. I don't look for a result. I just show up and do constant work. The uncertainty of I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if buying a $1,600 camera is going to work. I don't know, but I have faith in it that I am going to make it work.
What I could tell you, Heck, what I feel like what makes you different from like my outside looking in, I just feel like you're a consistent fucking person. Like you are really self-disciplined. Like I said before, not a lot of people do that. So watching you and be like, damn, he's really about his shit and what he says. Like you stay true to yourself, for real. So that's what makes you different.
And so it's like we call them non-negotiable. It's called, I read this book. It's like you got to hold on to your nuts. It's non-negotiable on unalterable terms. Like what people call like standing on business.
Them
like,
some big ass words. Hold on.
Exactly. So non-negotiable, unalterable terms. So it's like standing on business. Like, look, this is what I will never fold on. If I'm going to work out, church, I'm not missing. I'm not folding on. Again, it's out of town, and it was Jamal. But again, Jamal was my mentor to help me see different and to be consistent. But again, he always talks about it, like, you have to have a vision. Most men don't have a plan, but most people in general don't have a plan because it's a YOLO. Like, I think legacy, again, you being a realtor, I want 40 doors by 40. That's a plan. That's okay. How much money do I need to save? What about my contractors? Okay, do I need to put a HELOC on my investment property once I put into 100,000 and make the appraisal go up to 5? Like, again, it's a plan to this though, but a lot of people don't plan because it's like, okay, what if I die tomorrow? Like, I could, but I don't think like that. Like, I'm still setting up my legacy.
Longevity.
Exactly. But again, a lot of people just think very much YOLO, and I'm sitting here like, I don't mind putting away temporary pleasures for a lifetime of what I'm really trying to build for myself, my future, my family. And again, I think bigger than myself, where it's like that pleasure, it doesn't supersede what I'm really trying to do and what I'm really trying to be and everything I'm trying to have later on in life.
Yeah. I actually want to add something too for myself and maybe for like audience that go through this, like a mental health awareness. I feel like even like in the month of October, I get on the edge because I feel like so much shit has happened to me from just like
trauma.
A lot of traumatic experiences, from getting kicked out of college, my dad's house getting raided by the feds, my dad went to prison, I was sexually assaulted in October. So I feel like every time October comes, I get on the edge and I just start being like doubting myself, just get really, I don't even want to say depressed, because I could wake up every day with a smile on my face, you wouldn't even know I'm depressed. But what would you say to people who never been through those same traumatic experiences but also deal with grief, and like they get a little nervous, they get anxious because that month is coming, like, oh, my dad died or this happened? Like, what would you say for the best advice for that?
You have to have your habits and tools in place. Like, Stutz gave us tools on like, what do we write down, what do we see, how do we actually, when we start feeling those feelings, what do I need to do to get out of that? Or just sitting there, like, if you need a journal when you feel those things, journal. And again, if you need to
release that,
right, if you need to do something that makes you happy when you do that, or you have to think a happy thought when somebody passes, where it's like, yes, it's sad, but we had these great times. So it's just having those tools in place that when those times come, you're ready for it. And again, I think 7 years ahead. A lot of people just don't think the days or weeks ahead. So that's the difference, where it's like, October's coming. What could you do to put in place that you already know? It's not, we're not going to skip October, so know it's coming. So it's figuring out, hey, what's going to make me feel good? Or when this person passed, what can I do to kind of honor them, or things like that? So I'm not in that same place. And what do I need to hone in on? Like, hey, I need to show up at work more. I need to, be in the gym more because I know this is more of a tough time. So it's just you already having a plan in preparation,
making better habits.
Exactly. So
one of the last questions too that I wanted to ask you, we always wanted to get better with God and surrender. I know Elodie's on her journey and I am too. How there's days where I feel like disconnected, like where I'm just like I'm talking to you, God, but I don't hear you, like I don't feel you. And what can you say to help people get better on the journey with God?
When you say he doesn't hear you, what do you mean?
I feel like when I'm just like praying a lot and I'm just trying to like I don't know, just talk to him or just praying, and I know I'm not going to get the answers that I need. Right. But yeah.
Honestly, you can just look for scripture. Like I tell people, if you don't know, you can honestly chat GPT a scripture for what you're going through. And if you don't know where it's at, you literally can find it. Be like, because you're not the only person that went through this problem. You're not the only person that's ever had this problem. Right. So if you're talking about God, just find the scripture that kind of relates to that issue, and it will kind of help you kind of push forward. But then again, it's like I tell people, faith and fear can't live in the same house, and your fear can't outweigh your faith. Because if you
I love that.
Because if you truly believe in God, we will never fear anything. And even if then, what I've learned was like, I've done everything. I can't even fear death because I know if I'm not in control, God is in control. And if I trust God, then regardless if it happens good or bad, it was happening according to his will, not mine. Yeah. So yes, I have certain plans for life, but it doesn't always plan out that way. And I'm just going to trust God.
We can't avoid the inevitable.
Exactly. And again, it's uncertainty that we don't know what's going to happen again. And death is a part of life. But again, how we handle it, things like that. And then just having the right support system in place is always going to be big. But again, for me, it's just like my support system 9 times out of 10 is my therapist, because that's who I go to talk to. Where everybody comes talk to me, who do you talk to? My therapist more than anything. So other than that, because again, I'm very self-aware, but there are some issues I'm like, okay, am I looking at this wrong? Yeah. Or did I do this wrong, or what could I have done better? So I'm still trying to grow myself, where it's just like, but situations have to happen.
Do you feel like when you're in a relationship, are you vulnerable with your partner, or do you only give that to your therapist?
It wasn't about me being vulnerable. It was handling their vulnerability better. So in my last relationship, I wasn't emotionally there for her how she wanted me to be. But then again, it was at a point where I felt she felt ungrateful and entitled. So I didn't even want to be there. But that's my fault. Again, that's because I didn't know how to handle it, and because I thought most of the stuff she did was a liability more than it was an asset. But again, I shouldn't even been looking at it that way. But
is there marriage in the cards for Heck?
sure. Yeah, there's always going to be marriage, because again, I want to get married. I want to have kids. I want to have a family. But the part that I have the most trouble with in life is intimacy with other people, because it doesn't rely just on me. It relies on somebody else. So I have to put trust into somebody else. And that's my hardest thing, where it's like, because I know me, like I'm always driving. Y'all can go sit in the back seat because I know I can get us there. It's hard letting somebody else kind of even steer the wheel, or even just trust them with my heart is not easy at all.
So I can relate to you in that sense, because like Malaya told me one time, I work a lot, and she's like, sis, like, you working a lot, are you okay? And I started to realize I'm probably overcompensating for the lack of like emotions I'm trying to understand within myself in terms of like relationships, right? So what do? I make myself feel better by overworking. Do you feel like the lack of a parent in your life is what is like the reason you have trouble with intimacy with other people? Like,
for sure. I can tie that all the way back to my mother, because
to like top that, do you think that's why you're doing so much?
No, I think I'm doing so much because I'm here to serve. Like that's my life. Like I think I literally looked it up before I got here. It was like, what is a true definition of a man? It was like, he has to provide, he has to have love and kindness. What else does he have to do? He has to serve others. You have to serve his wife. So life isn't about the man. Like,
I feel that.
Him not being lazy. So again, that's what God told me to do. So I'm going to do what God tells me to do. So it's not a lot. But again, I know what my purpose is. But when it comes back to my mother, I did find myself saving women because nobody saved my mother. It wasn't a lack of a parent, it was the parent that raised me. So me growing up without a dad, I can't miss something or want something I've never had. Like I tell, like even my pops out now, like we cool, but again, you didn't raise me, you didn't teach me. It was more of my relationship with my mother wasn't good. So again, but that to me, that's the first person that's supposed to love you. But again, like I said earlier, she wasn't there emotionally, but again, because I knew she couldn't be there emotionally for herself. So again, our relationship,
and it's probably the way she grew up too.
Exactly. But again, imagine having a parent that never tells you about their past, right? So it's just like, that's the reason why me and my mom only have to go to therapy to fix it. Because I told her, I'm like,
does that hurt you?
No, because again, in therapy, I've forgiven my mom for everything. I told her, like, I said, look, my relationship with women is not good. I feel like it starts from you. I need to fix it with you first before I get into another one, because I feel like whatever it is, I need to fix it. Like a lot of people fail their marriages because they don't prepare for it, right? What's the number one reason why people's marriages fail?
Cheating.
That, and what else?
No communication.
Finances.
I was gonna say that.
Exactly. So again, but imagine if I'm setting my finances up, that's one thing me and my future wife don't have to argue about. If I already took
finances.
So that's one, right? Infidelity. If I'm a man of God and I feel like no woman can tempt me, or I'm not putting myself in a room for women to tempt me, that's two. I take that off the table. Therapy with communication is I know how to communicate with my wife. So all the top 3 problems I already took care of. So when we look at the divorce rate being 50 or 60%, well, look at these people. Don't look at marriage. Look at the people that are in marriage. So people are like, oh, I'm not never getting married. Why? Well, these people didn't work. Are you them?
Right.
No. Then what are you worried about?
My last question for you: do you think social media is a big problem right now in dating?
It is if you allow it to be. Like it's not if you communicate about it. Because I have a firm rule: you can't come to me about Instagram. Like you can't, because I'm not that I'm in.
Can't tell you shit, huh?
You can't tell me nothing because you think about it. Like for my profession and know what I do. Like if you trust me,
that's fair.
Because if you trust me as a person, I'm liking. Let me tell you how I go about it. Right? I don't care who you are. I will like 6 of your pictures and move on. But why do you think I do that?
To get your attention.
Exactly. But I had
to book you.
Exactly. So that's the thing where it's like when people nowadays think of it as, oh, you like me because you like these many pictures. No. Bring your ass over here. Yeah. Come look at something. Right. If you don't come train with me, you're going to want to buy something. So that's why I do it where it's like, oh, heck, you like everything. I don't spend that all day. Like
He's
again,
not looking, zooming in.
No, like because it doesn't.
You might zoom in on the crevices.
But then again, you got to understand, I'm around beautiful women all day. That's years and years ago where it's like people are like, oh, I can never do what you do. I'm like, well, because you're never around these women. And again, this is my money. I'm not never going to play with my money or my purpose. If you're not communicative with your partner about it and y'all don't talk about it, then it can be an issue. But again, it depends if we're talking about DM stories. Like, again, you have to literally sit there and write down, it's like, what's acceptable and what's not.
Right.
And so as long as you guys come to a compromise, it's like, those are the rules. Now, if somebody breaks the rules on social media, then now we have an issue. But literally, that's it. People just don't talk about terms and conditions of their relationship, where it's like, hey, this is what you can do.
Don't know how to be transparent.
Exactly. And then again, but at least you hold them accountable to be like, look, you got two times to mess up this, and then I'm gonna warn you the first time and I'm gonna cut you off the second. But at least you told them up front instead of it being a problem in the back end. Yeah.
Well, that was the last question. Unfortunately, cameras keep dying. We could talk to Heck all fucking day. But I just want to say thank you so much for even coming and taking the time out of your day. I truly appreciate you. I'm a big fan. I'm a big supporter. And I always wish you the best. And thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm appreciative and blessed that you guys wanted me on this show.
we might need part 2.
Yeah, you're blessed.
I got you. I got for sure. I always come back for sure.
And that is a wrappy.
Bye, y'all.
Okay.